and I'm just trying to test it out. So it's just a test run, yeah. So no other, cause a while I don't really go on the live, you know what I mean? Yeah. So give, give me a second for go and test it out.
I've done a lot of videos already on the process of reincarnation, because reincarnation is the basic mechanism how collective consciousness is experiencing itself, is experiencing its own creation through the process of reincarnation. And there are many different areas and mechanisms that are linked to reincarnation. It's not a simple process. Hey, this is Mike Sigula from TrueFury.com, and welcome to another episode of True Spirituality. This is my series on metaphysics, esotericism, mysticism, and spirituality. And if you're new here, please subscribe, because this is already episode 35. So if you are someone who likes topics such as karma, reincarnation, consciousness, philosophy, metaphysics, spirituality, psychedelics, meditation, past lives, law of one, hermetic philosophy, starseeds, any of these kind of subjects, you'll definitely love this series, and have a look at previous episodes, because this is already episode 35. So before we're gonna start, I just want to say, if you want to support this project, have a look at patreon.com/truefury and become a supporter. You can send me topic suggestions on Patreon. You get access to exclusive content there as well. You can ask me some questions, and you can help to create more and more videos. So thank you for help. And also, if you want to work with me on one-to-one basis, have a look at truefury.com/coaching. I'm doing mentoring and coaching there. If you need some help or assistance, check out truefury.com/coaching. And now let's talk about today's topic. So what are karmic motivation locks? Okay, let me say that I just coined this term. Whatever, I just decided I have not seen anyone really talking about this particular area, and I thought, let's just name it somehow, because I see this is a pattern, and I've never heard anyone specifically mentioning that, so I just named it karmic motivation locks. But call it whatever you want to call it. Let me explain what it is. So I've done a lot of videos already on the process of reincarnation, because reincarnation is the basic mechanism how collective consciousness is experiencing itself, is experiencing its own creation through the process of reincarnation. And there are many different areas and mechanisms that are linked to reincarnation. It's not a simple process. So in the previous videos, we talked about soul family or soul groups. We talked about soul plan. We talked about free will and karma. So what happens is that you have your soul plan, which is a plan that you set up before incarnation, where many important events are designed for you to either clear some karma, learn some lessons, fulfill your destiny, do your work, do whatever you plan to do before, right? But because you forget all that here, you need to have some kind of motivation to do your work, right? To fulfill your soul plan, right? So you don't remember what is the goal, what is that you want to accomplish, but you need to be directed somehow and work towards that goal. This is what I call karmic motivation locks. Let me give you examples of that, right? So let's start with someone like Mr. Elon Musk, who I know a lot of people like. He's definitely not a good guy, and I'm gonna be doing videos specifically on that. Already done a bunch, but someone like him, he has a very serious mission here that's very negative. It's about transhumanism and hooking us into computers, AI, turning us into cyborgs, basically, with his projects. That's one of his big tasks here. He obviously does not remember what he's here to do, right? So he might get these different ideas that he will form, or he has formed already, where he thinks that, the only way, if you can't beat them, join them.
It could be terrible, and it could be great. It's not clear.
Right.
But one thing is for sure, we will not control it.
Do you think that it's likely that we will merge somehow or another with this sort of technology, and it'll augment what we are now? Or do you think it will replace us?
Well, that's the scenario. The merge scenario with AI is the one that seems like probably the best. Like
for us.
Yes. Like if you can't beat it, join it. That's
yeah.
The AI is almost here, and it's just gonna take over everything. We won't be able to live without it. We won't be able to continue as a society without integrating with it. So we need to merge with it. And he's so afraid of it, let's say, that he thinks that he wants to be the guy who will keep an eye on the developments, because the developments can go in different ways in different countries. There is no oversight. And let's say some country gonna decide to go too far with it, and then they're gonna have enormous advantages, or their system's gonna be able to take over or hack other systems or whatever, right? So, but this kind of way of thinking, he thinks that he's gonna be the one who's gonna develop that first, because that will allow his company to keep an eye on the major trends, major developments, so that's why he's developing Neuralink, his brain-computer interface company, where he's going to be the first that's going to create this link between human brain and us and technology, right? Because he thinks that's going to happen anyway, no matter what, no matter if you're going to focus on that or not, that will happen, because this is where things are moving. So he thought like, okay, it's gonna happen, it's gonna be extremely dangerous. Let me be the one who will bring it to the world, because then I'm gonna have full control over it, and it won't necessarily go in the wrong hands or wrong direction, right? That's the lie he's been telling himself. So this is his karmic motivation lock. He doesn't remember that this is his job to bring this here, and that's the transhumanist agenda that he's bringing, right? Which is his major work here to do. And he has to have a reasoning to keep working towards the goal that he designed for himself before incarnation, right? So the true goal is actually, connect everyone to AI, and he's the tool for that, and then computers. But his reasoning is that I'm gonna save the world, I'm gonna do something good, and I'm just gonna help, and blah 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 blah. I'm actually the guy who is like trying to do something good here. So this is karmic lock. He has a point where he wants to get to that point, of achieving the goal, but his reasoning is kind of, let's say, down to earth, and the true reasoning before the birth, before incarnation, was actually, you're the tool to plug all of them here to AI, to turn them into transhuman, right? The negative agenda. But to work on that, he has to have some kind of motivation, right? And the motivation is that I'm gonna save the world. I'm gonna be the first one who's gonna do it because I'm the good guy, and keep an eye on the development. The illusion of the image he created about himself is slowly fading away, because more and more dirt is coming out, right? So maybe more and more people are gonna start opening their eyes that you don't wanna have anyone to connect your brain to computers, AI, digital world at all, because this is when you become fully controlled and hackable. Okay, so hope you understand what I'm trying to explain here, but let me give you another example, something a lot more simple and easy to understand. So let me actually give you an example from my life. So as a teenager, I was into sports, I was doing roller skating, aggressive inline skating, skate parks, this kind of stuff, handrails. And I really enjoyed doing this sport, right? But the path for me was to get into martial arts, because martial arts allowed me to, become confident, to build my character, to build my strength, and it helped me throughout the rest of my life to just have a strong character, self-discipline, and so many other things that you learn when you do martial arts, right? So I needed a motivation to get into that, right? Part of my journey here was to push myself to do what I'm doing, but I needed a lot of these tools that build my character, right? And martial arts was one of these things because it helped me so much, right? But I needed to get into that, right, first, even though I was not so interested in it. First thing. And the second thing was that I also needed to have motivation to train extremely hard, right, to become really good at it, especially as a teenager, which now it built up my character and I still train it 20 years later, right? So I needed a trigger point where I made the decision and I have my motivation, right? This is why I call it karmic motivation locks, because you, in a way, lock yourself to start doing something that you planned before incarnation, and you are locked in a way because now you have motivation to work towards some goal, even though, the motivation here might have nothing to do with the true motivation of your soul plan, right? Because the part of the soul plan was, okay, you're gonna get into martial arts because you've been doing it for many incarnations, one thing. The second thing is that it's gonna help you to build your character, blah, blah, all these things that it helped me with, confidence, all these things. And keep you fit, keep you healthy, and all these other things. But you need, because you don't remember that this is the path, you need some event that's gonna propel you towards this path. That's one thing, right? And second, you need motivation so you stay on the path. You need to have goals there, right? So what happened? As a teenager, when I was actually 15, I met my first girlfriend, and basically, I was kind of like partying, doing some of the things that teenagers do, But I wasn't like a guy who would really be confident or get into fights or anything like that. I kind of avoided anything like that. So what happened was that summer when we met, and she became my partner, my girlfriend for another 3.5 years. That was my first relationship, right? We met in a town, in a different town, but we were both from the same city. We were just on holidays, right? And, I used to go to this like nightclub where they were selling alcohol for teenagers and stuff like that. 15 years old, we were drinking, all of us there. And these guys that were like local hooligans or local thugs, let's say, they did not like me because they just didn't like the fact that I was hitting on that girl that all of these guys there liked, and I wasn't even from there. So I had a situation where basically these guys, like a group of whatever, one guy just hit me with the forehead, pulled me out of the club, and they wanted to beat the shit out of me. 10 guys. And she kind of stood up and she knew them and she kind of saved.
Yes, family, so I test out this app, you know what I mean? Yeah, man, so I'm trying to use it, but I don't really know if to use it really, So as soon as I get to know how to use it, I'm gonna start to kick it off again, you know what I mean? Alright, so love your family, and you see what I'm doing same way, you know what I mean, family? It's not like I'm here playing around. Alright, enough love, yeah, family? Upright and upright. Love you.